Super stoked for you guys today. Got you guys. This is probably the strongest human being that I know personally. So we invited Ben Pollock down here to the studio to shoot some video with you guys. So we got a series coming up right here. And the first one that we thought, how perfect would it be to have this guy break down exactly how he sets up the three major lifts, the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press, since he kicks ass at all three of them. His deadlift, okay, this guy's deadlifting over 800 pounds, he's squatting 800 pounds and benching over 400 pounds at 198 pounds. He's an absolute beast, and he's really intelligent. The dude's going through his PhD right now. He's almost done with graduate school. So he knows a lot of information. He breaks it down really well. And so I want him to share with you guys exactly how to set up the deadlift. So check out this first video.
So the very first thing you want to do before you even walk up to the bar is make sure that you can get in the right position to have an efficient pull off the floor. To do that, you need to make sure that you can get your spine in a neutral position. What I mean by neutral is that you have your hips, your upper back, and your neck all kind of stacked in a line, right? So I'm straight here. You really don't want to make sure you want to make sure you're not pushing your butt way back out like that, or that you're arching your upper back or rounding over too much. As soon as you do one of those things, you're kind of losing your connection right from the floor. You want, starting from the floor all the way to the top of your body, you want that to be one solid kind of power pillar or something like that, where you can make sure that you're transferring all the strength from your individual muscles. They all can work together kind of in tandem. So that's the position that you want to get before you even walk up to the bar. Is just make sure you're squeezing your abs, you're squeezing your glutes, and you're really trying to pull your rib cage down over your hips. And that's going to keep you in a good position. If you can squeeze like that, you can stay in that position, even while you're doing the lift, you'll be safe, first of all, and you'll also be in a stronger position to lift the weight. So when you walk up to the bar, there's two different styles of deadlifting. You guys probably know this, but you can deadlift conventional, where you have your legs inside your arms, or you can deadlift sumo, where you have your legs outside. Whichever stance you choose is going to depend on your own structure, but regardless of which stance, you want to make sure that your body is positioned over the bar in a way that's going to allow you to pull straight up. You don't want to be pulling way back. You definitely don't want to be way over the bar, where then you're losing your balance forward, because again, you're not transferring your energy efficiently when you're doing that. So I'm going to show first conventional stance, and then we'll switch to sumo. So when I walk up to the bar for a conventional stance, I don't want to be right up against the bar, because first I'm going to be too far over. Second, I'm going to hit my shins. Y'all can see my shins are real messed up because I've been a little bit too close on some of my deadlifts. So you don't want that. You want to make sure basically that your midfoot is directly under the barbell, right? So your midfoot is right where your ankle kind of connects to your foot. You want that part to be right over the bar, right under the bar, excuse me. When you're in that position, it allows you to both efficiently engage your quadriceps and then your posterior chain, so your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back. If you're too close, it's going to be more hamstring. You're too far away, it's going to be almost all quad. It's going to be really ugly. It's very, very important that when you're walking up, you're getting in that good stance. Again, remember, keep that neutral spine. And then this is probably the part that most people kind of miss out on, and it causes major problems. You need to engage your lats. So your lats are part of your upper back, right? They go from your shoulder all the way down. And for the most part, you think, okay, I use my lats in things like lat pull downs or barbell rows, but you also should be using them as a stabilizing muscle in the deadlift. Your lats are going to help you to keep your lower back in a flat position. They're going to help you keep that neutral spine. If you're not engaging the lats, you're going to have a tendency to round, right? We don't want that. I already explained, right? You're going to lose a lot of power. In addition, it's placing a lot of stress on your lower back. So if you're the type of person that has kind of reoccurring back issues, it's going to make it much, much worse. So lats are extremely important. They're also very difficult for a lot of people to feel. They're not one of those muscles you can see. Most people can't bounce their lats like you can kind of bounce your pecs sometimes. You can't do that with your lats, or it's very, very difficult. And so people have a kind of hard time knowing, well, am I really using my lats or am I not? The easiest way I find to really kind of get them engaged, just pick your hands up. When you pick your hands up, you're stretching your lats, right? And they come all the way up there. And so you can kind of feel them a little bit more working. So you stretch them out, and then when you pull them down, you just think about trying to get kind of like the opposite motion. You don't have to pull them crazy way back, and you don't have to really think about doing anything with them. You don't have to flex them, right? Like spread them or anything. You're just trying to pull them down and back as if you have back pockets, you're trying to pull your lats all the way down into your back pockets. You don't want to move your shoulders, but you do want to kind of get those lats engaged. From here, all you really need to do is stay tight during the descent. It sounds simple, it's actually kind of difficult because a lot of people, they go down real quick, right? I just lost all that tightness that I built up. So you need to make sure that when you're going down at a pace that allows you to I'm not thinking about it, I'm not just like, okay, let me keep my quads tight, let me keep my hamstrings tight, but at the same time, I'm not losing that tension in my lats, I'm not losing that tension in my abs or my lower back. The easiest way I find to do that is think about spreading the floor apart. Your feet shouldn't actually move, but if you do that, it's gonna naturally cause you to engage most of the muscles in your lower body. Everybody has different cues, so if that cue doesn't work for you, you might need to try something else. For example, some people like thinking of digging their heels backwards, and that helps them to engage their muscles. You'll have to try a couple of different things actually to find what works for you, but the really only thing that matters is that you are keeping tight. So, activate the lats, good brace position, big breath, all right? Big breath into the diaphragm, and then keep everything tight as I go down. If I've made that good descent, my lift is going to be safe and it's going to be effective. The ascent part is actually pretty easy. So the setup is crucial if you're going to perform a good lift. After you get there, you just need to make sure that you're continuing to use all your muscles, kind of distribute the load across all your muscles equally. And for most people, that's going to happen naturally. Most people aren't going to emphasize one muscle group over the other to a large extent if they're keeping everything tight. Now, if you have some imbalances, right, you have massive quads and no hamstrings at all, that's something you'll have to address, either with technique by lightening the weight or with assistance exercises. But for the most part, you get in that good solid position and you're going to be able to lift the weight without having to think too much about that actual lifting part, which is really nice. So that was conventional deadlift. For sumo, there actually aren't that very many differences, which is strange because when you look at a sumo deadlift compared to a conventional deadlift, they look vastly different, but they're actually not. So for my sumo stance, it's fairly narrow. Others will have a very wide sumo stance. Again, this is going to depend on your leverages. For me, my sumo stance is somewhere around right about here. And again, I'm looking for the stance where I can distribute the load equally across all my muscle groups that are involved. For me, that's right about around here. And again, I'm going to do the exact same thing. The only difference is in the sumo deadlift, it's going to put more emphasis on my lower body and a little bit less emphasis on my lower back. But from here, I still want to activate my lats. And I really, really need to think about keeping that lower body tight as I descend, because if you lose that position in sumo, you're basically screwed. If you're out of position at the bottom of a sumo deadlift, because that's where most people's sticking point is going to be, then you're going to have a very, very difficult time lifting a weight that you're probably capable of and definitely adding weight and getting stronger over time. So really focusing on keeping everything tight. And again, just keep that tightness all the way up. One thing to note, because the sticking point of the sumo deadlift is at the ground, a lot of times if it comes off the ground fast, you'll think, oh man, that was super easy. And then you'll take a big jump and you'll find, oh shit, I can't do this at all. And that's because once you break the bar off the ground, it's probably gonna, if you're in a good position, it's gonna feel fast. And so that's one thing to keep in mind if you're doing that style versus the conventional style.
Two more. One. Last one. Beautiful.